Back when Acura first burst onto the scene, it put a stake in the ground as the performance arm of Honda, and it did that with the iconic NSX. You know, the Japanese supercar. The supercar that everyone who owned a Honda lusted for. It was amazing. It was the mid-90s, and you wanted this car. But if you couldn't afford it, you could get an Integra, a great entry-level sports car that you could drive around. It was a bit better than the Civic, and everyone who owned a Civic wanted one. And then Acura sort of lost its way. It sort of got lost in the premium brands jungle. But now it's back. And it came back in 2015, again with the NSX. The brand new NSX, new generation. It's an amazing car. I'm going to say this again and again in this video. The NSX is amazing. And it's following that up with the resurrection of the Type S on the Acura brand. We haven't seen one of those since the mid-2000s, and the very first one is the TLX, and we're going to take it for a drive. Acura has set up this vehicle to essentially take on the German sports sedan, things you see from Audi, from Mercedes-Benz, and from BMW. And well, that's a tough ask, but it feels like they put all that Acura precision, which they talk about quite a lot, into this vehicle. The 2021 Acura TLX Type S starts at $52,300. It has 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. It is a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it has true torque vectoring via the super handling all-wheel drive system. Behind the wheel, the TLX Type S feels like that luxury sports sedan that Acura is targeting. It is the return, part of the return of Acura to a performance brand. You know, we got the NSX in 2015, and now this, the TLX, is the first of apparently many Type S's coming down the road, and MDX is on the way. So for those who are looking for speed in an SUV, that's on the way. When you're driving this, you put it in comfort mode, you put it in normal mode. It's a nice cruiser. You could drive this from here to LA, no problem. The dampeners are all set up for a nice smooth ride. The turning ratio on the steering wheel is very wide, so it feels very smooth and composed. But the reason you buy this car is to turn that dynamic mode, not just to sport, but you turn it a little bit more for a second to Sport Plus, and then you get this. Yeah. Acura didn't just put a turbo on a 4-cylinder and tune the exhaust and tighten up the suspension for the Type S and call it a day. Oh no, they built an engine specifically for this car. It is a 3-liter V6 with a twin-spool single turbo. It's got quad exhaust. They've tightened up the suspension. They've tightened up the chassis. There's additional chassis structural components in the back and in the front. And really my favorite thing though are the brakes, and they have a very short throw, so you just barely tap on them and you feel the brakes working. And I absolutely love that, because a fast car with bad brakes is a recipe for disaster, and this car is fast, but it has great brakes, and they're not difficult to control, which is something that you might find in other vehicles. Like the Giulia is a wonderful car, but if you're just driving around town, those brakes are a huge pain in the ass. This vehicle, they've figured out how to make the brakes powerful and able to stop you, but not give you, but give you a lot of control even when you're driving slow. Inside, it's comfortable, but still, you know, it's set up for performance. The steering wheel has a flat bottom. The seating position is very performance set. It's comfortable. It has side bolster adjustments, which is great, because when you don't have good side bolsters on your seats and you're driving something quickly around a corner, you start doing this, which is always a bad scene. Like, you know, it's like the bench seats from the 80s in a pickup truck. You're just sliding everywhere while you're trying to keep control of a beast. So much of what this car is has been borrowed from the NSX. The steering wheel, the brake system, parts of the engine. It's just so much. They've learned so much from the NSX, and they've put it in this vehicle for the Type S. And by the way, the NSX is an amazing, amazing car. I don't know why more people aren't buying those things. Rich people, not me, I don't have that kind of money, but I absolutely adore that vehicle because you're getting a supercar with Acura and Honda reliability. I mean, that's insane. The interior has all the usual accoutrements you would expect from Acura, including its touchpad, and it doesn't have a touch screen. And for many, this has turned a lot of people off of Acura's infotainment system because the touchpad is a one-to-one representation of the screen. So wherever your finger is on the pad, that's where essentially the pointer is on the screen. You don't drag like you would with the touchpad on your laptop. So much about what's amazing about this vehicle, the engine, the suspension, the chassis, the brakes, they all require you to drive fast. And I'm currently doing 24 miles an hour on the 17-mile drive tour in Carmel. So clearly I am not pushing the car to its limits. And that is, well, that is the curse of the automotive journalist. Sometimes we get very fast, very powerful cars, and we have to drive them on public roads. Fortunately, Acura has set us up. So I'm here, Laguna Seca Raceway, you know, home of the famous Corkscrew, and well, here we go. And I'm on the track, and I'm driving this car, and I'm having a blast. You can feel that torque coming up the hill. And it is outstanding. And now we're hitting the Corkscrew, and nice easy left, go towards the fence, turn in, let it out, nice quick lefter right here. So if someone's going to tell you that their car is fast and it handles well, Laguna Seca is a great place to actually find that out. And what's nice is that these brakes are electronic brakes. So the car adjusts the brake, the pads, so you don't feel any brake fade. You don't get like 3/4 through a few laps of this this track and then have to like really push down the brakes. The car does that for you. So the brake, the stroke of the brake, where you have to stomp on it and where it attaches, that is constant. And that is wonderful, especially if you're a new driver and you're just learning how to drive quicker. You feel like you should have some understeer, and that's where you turn the wheels and you just sort of keep going straight. But the super handling all-wheel drive just sort of directs the power to the rear, and so you get like this nice like balance with a bit of oversteer. It's just really great. Pre-orders for this vehicle are available right now, but it doesn't go on sale until about the end of June. As always, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe because I have so many pets that I need to buy food for. Don't take food out of my pet's mouth by not liking and subscribing. I'm guilting you. I am the Sarah McLaughlin of automotive journalism. Enjoy. We're driving so goddamn slow because of this Corvette in front of me who's doing 20 miles an hour. And my God, he's killing me. You're killing me, Mr. Corvette. Senor Corvette. This is pushing me to the limit. The limit.